Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐧 Academy. We are back with one more live session with 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐧 Academy, and this is Anne with you. Today, we'll be going forward with our writing live session, writing precision, right? So, which we have normally been following in our sessions on Thursday. So, before going back to writing, we have already started with the the task 1 writing for academic, not the general one. We had taken overview for general and academic task 1 writing. So we had started last session with our types of reports with academic, right? So before going into that, let me just give you a brief description of when it comes to task 1. I had already informed the same some time back, but then still I'll just give you a brief description again, overview of the same. Now when it comes to task 1 writing has got two tasks, task 1 and task 2. Task 2 is a common for both the candidates, academic and general. And when it comes to task 1, it is different for general and academic. Academic goes for a report writing or a summary writing, and when it comes to general, it's a letter writing. So we had discussed what is the types of letters in brief, types of letters and types of reports in our session when we started a couple of weeks back. And then last session we started with the types of reports, which is for academic. We completed bar graph. Today we are going to deal with one more kind of report, which is a part of academic task 1, which is line graph. So now in a couple of seconds you can see on the screen the things we are going to discuss when it comes to line graph. Okay, now we had already informed that there are different kinds of reports which you have to write basis on the diagram. It can be a bar graph, line graph, it can be a table, can be a flow chart, it can be a map, process diagram, or a combination chart or a pie diagram, right? So we started with bar graph. So I hope that last session, if you have attended, if not, you can go back to the video and have a look at what we had discussed about bar graph. Today we are going to take line graph. Now what is a line graph? Now bar graph and line graph, both of them deals with comparison of information basis of values, right? Comparison of values, which actually may be giving you information about some changes which are happening, right? Now when it comes to line graph, okay, line graphs are used to show how information or data changes with the course of time, right? Maybe in a particular course of years, or maybe in a year, in a particular month. Okay, so it actually shows the information or data change. So it is actually to an extent it's a comparison maybe between two values. Okay, this is the same when it comes to bar graph also. It is comparison between maybe 2 or 3 labels, right? Similar to bar graph, it also has got an x-axis and a y-axis, right? Like last time we had discussed that we have got a x-axis and we have got a y-axis. So the x1 is the horizontal one, which generally has the time period, okay, most of the time period, and y-axis is mostly the measuring units, percentage, number, in terms of people, maybe in terms of quantity of something. So you may be given in that manner. Now so like you told, this is the time period and this is the measuring unit, right? Okay, now line graph can have, like for example, single lines, right? But single lines are very rare because you have to write a 150 word report. Now the basic things remain the same. The word count remains 150. The time given to you is 20 minutes. So writing a 150 word report of single line would be like a little bit tedious, right? So most of the time you can expect a multiple line graph. It can be 2, 3, 2 or more than 2, 3, 4 and so on, right? So you may be given 1 or 2 line graphs that illustrate changes with different categories over a period of time. So this time period occurs mainly, maybe it can be in the past, okay, sometimes it can be a prediction which is for the future, maybe something which is going to happen in the future, right? So an estimate, we can say, sometimes it can be estimated value, right, which is the future, something which already happened in the past. So this is something which is the basic about line graph. Okay, the other basic things remain the same, like I told, the time taken and the 20 minutes for the time and 150 words, right? The marking rubrics also remain the same for all reports. We have got task achievement, we have got lexical resources, we have got coherence and cohesion, and we have got grammar and accuracy, grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, you will get a band for each rubric, which will be added up divided by 4, which gives you the task 1 band. Now, how do you write a line graph when you get the question in front of you? The question is generally divided into 3 parts. For all the questions of report, it is divided into 3 parts. The first sentence says a brief description of the graphic. Okay, this is the 3 parts of the question. When you analyze that, okay, this is the 3 parts of the question. First part is where you get the brief description of the graphic, the line graph. The graphic in this case is the line graph, right? If it's a bar graph, it will be a bar graph. It's a pie, it's a pie. So, a brief description, what the graph is telling you, that is described to you in 1 or 2 sentences in the beginning of the sentence. Second sentence is an instruction for the candidate, what you have to do, right? Summarize the information given, write the relevant features and comparisons wherever it is there in 150 words. So, that is the instruction which is given to you, which is second part of the question. Third part is the diagram itself. Okay, so it can be here in this case a line graph, whatever the diagram is, it will be the third part of the question. So, it will divide 3 parts. Sentence 1 is a brief description of the graph, second is the instruction for the candidate, and third is the diagram itself, right? So, now these are the parts of the question. When you get that, how do you write a line graph? What are the 5 steps? Nominal 5 steps. First is you analyze the question, right? Like I told, the 3 parts of the question, you read at least 1 or 2 times. Okay, you read the question at least once or twice. Okay, you study the diagram. That means study the graph. That is also an important part. You read the question statement, because we'll know what is it exactly about, what it's showing you, and then you'll go to the diagram and analyze it. Okay, you study the diagram, look at the labels, look at the y-axis, look at the x-axis, look at the numbers. Okay, this is something which includes in analyzing the question. Then comes identifying the main features. Now these 2 are a parts of before you start writing your actual essay, your report, you have to do these things, right? And then you identify them. So you have studied the diagram, now you know the question. So look for the main features, because this is what gives you your overview, main features, because this is what the question tells you, right? Summarize the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So you have to look at there may be a lot of information in the graph, right? It can be a lot of features are there, but you cannot write everything in that 20 minutes for 150 words, right? Now 150 is the minimum word count, at least 150. You can go beyond 150. We always say keep it between 150 to 180, right? That is what is always suggested, between 150 and 180. Try to keep it between that level. So writing these many words, you can take 2 to 3 main features which are there, and rest relevant ones, if you find any observation, that can be mentioned in your graph. There is no hard and fast rule that you cannot write something or you cannot write. You can write something, right? Okay, these 2 parts are the part of the planning. Then comes the writing the introduction, writing an overview, writing the paragraphs. Why? Because this is what the structure of the essay is. Okay, the structure of the report says that you follow a 4 paragraph structure. ബേസിക് സ്ട്രക്ചറാണ് എല്ലാ റിപ്പോർട്ടിനും ഒരു 4 പാരഗ്രാഫ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ ഫോളോ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. എപ്പോഴും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇറ്റ് വിൽ മേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ഈസി ഫോർ യു, റൈറ്റ്? അതിൽ ഫസ്റ്റ് പാരഗ്രാഫ് വന്നിട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എ ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ പാരഗ്രാഫ്, സെക്കൻഡ് പാരഗ്രാഫ് ഈസ് യുവർ ഓവർവ്യൂ പാരഗ്രാഫ്, തേർഡ് പാരഗ്രാഫ് ഈസ് യുവർ BP1, right? Body paragraph 1, and fourth paragraph is your BP2. First feature and main feature. Now you have written here 1 feature, 2 feature. Now maybe you have got 1 feature more and a rest relevant observation. You can definitely add that into your report. Okay, you can add it down into your report. Fine. Now what comes in introduction? Generally it's a paraphrase. Introduction is now this remains the same for every kind of report. You paraphrase the question statement. Like I told you, it's a brief description of the graphic which is given, the sentence 1. This has to be paraphrased in your introduction. Now being a report, you cannot write all the words synonymously. So maybe some words which you can change, some things definitely change that. Rest of the things you can write as it is. Don't copy down the question as it is, but then yes, a couple of words you can change, topic matter words, something. At the same time, when you paraphrase, one more thing I had addressed you in the last session, that you can look at the diagram and write down certain reference points which is not mentioned in the question. Okay, maybe the label names, right? maybe something which is given the measuring unit on x-axis, you can put down that in the introduction. That is also something which is always suggested, which will give a good introduction, because introduction is what you're telling the moderator, okay, this is what the graph is all about. ഇതാണ് എൻ്റെ റിപ്പോർട്ടിൻ്റെ ഇതാണ് എൻ്റെ റിപ്പോർട്ട് പറയാൻ പോകുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ. അപ്പോൾ ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ ആകുമ്പോൾ യു ക്യാൻ ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ദോസ് തിങ്സ് ഇൻ യുവർ ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ. പാരഫ്രേസ് പ്ലസ് എനി അഡീഷണൽ ഇൻഫോ ഫ്രം ദ ഡയഗ്രാം. Okay, so from the graphic can be added into your introduction. Okay, that completes your introduction. So next comes your overview, which is a very important paragraph in a report. All the paragraphs are important, but this is one thing which gives a summary of the whole report, right? Because the report doesn't have a conclusion. Identifying the main features is overview. Overview, you will write the main features without any specifics, right? അതായത് ഒരു ക്ലെയിം ചെയ്യുമ്പം യു ഡോണ്ട് സപ്പോർട്ട് ദ നമ്പേഴ്സ് വിൽ കം ഇൻ ദ ബോഡി പാരഗ്രാഫ്. യു ജസ്റ്റ് മേക്ക് എ ക്ലെയിം, ഓക്കെ, ഇൻ ദാറ്റ് ഓവർവ്യൂ. ദ മെയിൻ ഫീച്ചേഴ്സ് maximum 2, that is what is always suggested, but sometimes you can write 3 also, but 2 is what that you can write. That is all required. How do you identify them? How do you identify these main features? എങ്ങനെയാണ് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവുക? This is the main features which you are going to put it down in your overview paragraph. First വന്നിട്ട് you have to look at your axis. You have got a y axis and you have got a x axis, right? Y axis generally will be a measuring unit. It can be percentage, it can be any number, okay, number of people, number of something consumed, number of rupees, and so on. Okay, അപ്പോൾ you have to consider that. അതിലാണ് കമ്പാരിസൺ ചെയ്യുന്നത്, നമ്മൾ അതിനെ വെച്ച് കമ്പാരിസൺ ചെയ്യും. So what information do the two axes give you, right? What are the measuring units? Is it a percentage? Is it some numbers? Is it in rupees? Is it in number of people, or whatever it is? Time periods. What are the time periods? From this period to this period. What is a time period? Because ഈ പീരിയഡിൽ കുറച്ച് കുറവാണ്, it is increased in certain year. We are making comparisons there. So that highest number, lowest number, right, comes with measuring unit and the time period, which you have to identify. So the titles and the labels, you look at the titles and the categories. Comparison is done between what? Maybe genders ആയിരിക്കും, male, female. Okay, for example, a coffee consumed in 5 different countries by the males and females, or different age groups. അപ്പോൾ അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ലേബലിൽ ഉണ്ടാവും. Okay, that is something where you can make, okay, the male consume more, the female consume less, and in this year it is increasing, in this year it is decreasing. So they will give you the highest number. So these all informations give you the high number, okay, and the low number, right? It gives you the increase, it gives you the decrease, or something which is stable, which is not changed, unchanged. അപ്പോൾ ഈ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ലൈക്ക് എക്സ് ആക്സിസ് വൈ ആക്സിസ് മെഷറിംഗ് യൂണിറ്റ് ടൈം പീരിയഡ്സും ടൈറ്റിൽസും ലേബിൾ നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇത്രയും കാര്യങ്ങൾ ആസ് എ ഫീച്ചർ യു ക്യാൻ ട്രാക്ക് ഡൗൺ. ഓക്കെ, പിന്നെ വരുന്നത് ഓബ്വിയസ് ട്രെൻഡ്, പാറ്റേൺ, എ സർട്ടൺ പാറ്റേൺ വിച്ച് ഇസ് ഫോളോഡ്. മേ ബി in 2 categories the same pattern is followed, it may look the same. That can be a part of your overview if you want. Similarities, like I told, same things, okay, something which is same between 2 categories, or something which is quite stable, right, in one category. So these all things can be considered. These are the factors which help you to get your overview point, which is 1 or 2 points written in your overview paragraph. Okay, fine, Sheri. So this is the writing an overview. Then once you write your overview, once you written your overview which has got the main features, at least 2 main features. Now these features are only claimed. Okay, for example, you are telling that, okay, there has the people who consume coffee in the country XYZ country is more than the people who consume in this ABC country. You can make that claim, but how much is more, that specific or that supporting data will come in your paragraphs. Okay, this comes in your para. So how do you divide the information in your para? You have to arrange the information in your para in a proper manner. You will put the most important one, that's the main features. Now the structure says that put one main feature in one paragraph, that is the first main feature, like the second main feature in the second paragraph. You can do that. You can put, when you have selected 2 main features, put first in your first para, explain the same in an elaborate manner. Specifics കൊടുക്കുക. ഇപ്പോൾ 5 വർഷത്തെ കമ്പാരിസൺ ആണെങ്കിൽ Okay, make the specific year 5 വർഷം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ തന്നെ മോസ്റ്റ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് ഇയേഴ്സ് എടുത്തിട്ട് ആ വർഷത്തിൽ എത്ര നമ്പർ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, വാട്ട് ഈസ് ദ ഡിക്രീസ്, ഇൻക്രീസ് ഓർ കമ്പാരിസൺ ഓർ കോൺട്രാസ്റ്റ്, എന്തായാലും യു ഗിവ് ദ സ്പെസിഫിക്സ് ഓവർ ദെയർ, നമ്പേഴ്സ് അലോങ് വിത്ത് ദ ഇയേഴ്സ് അലോങ് ദ പെർസെൻറ്റേജ് ഓർ നമ്പേഴ്സ് ഓർ വാട്ട് എവർ ഇസ് മെൻഷൻ, ഫസ്റ്റ് മെയിൻ ഫീച്ചർ. അതേപോലെ ഫ്രം ഇൻ ദാറ്റ് പാരഗ്രാഫ് ഇഫ് യു വാണ്ട് you can also add something which is maybe less relevant avam, but it can be an observation, which you have seen, something which is less important, but you feel like you want to write that into it as an observation, you can definitely write that. Okay, then put your second main feature into your second paragraph. Similarly, give the specifics over there, explain the same, and that will complete your body paragraphs. That is all. There is no conclusion for any report. Okay, so I had given the reason for the same because it is a very objective way of writing. Reports are a very objective way of writing. There is nothing, no personal opinion, right? Like you write in your essay, your opinions, your ideas, nothing is yours. Just you have been given a diagram, അത് just 150 words നിങ്ങൾ ഫോർമലായിട്ട് കൺവേർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നു എന്ന് മാത്രമേ ആ റിപ്പോർട്ടിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്നുള്ളൂ. Okay, so it doesn't have any conclusion. So this is the structure of a line graph report. Similar structure is similar to all bar graph also. Same structure ആണ്, പക്ഷേ എഴുതുന്ന രീതിക്ക് maybe language can differ being a line graph. Okay, you have to show high trend, you have to show a low trend, you have to show, like you say, when you say it's a high number, the trends, it can be the high trend, okay, it can be the low trend, it can be the highest number, okay, it can be the lowest number. These are something which are to be in a report, and something which is stable. Sometimes some lines may show the similarities. Two lines are given, random similar ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് തോന്നുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ that is similarity that can be mentioned. Okay, fine. So this is the details about line report. Now I have taken an example question which is this one. Now here it says the graph below shows what radio and television audiences, right, throughout the day in the year 1992. Throughout the day means 24 hours in a day. Throughout the day, a day has 24 hours. So the television, the people who watch television and the people who listen to a radio, okay, it shows the proportion of those people for the year in 1992. Okay, this is the first part of the question. Like I told, it is divided in 3 parts. Second part is the instruction. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. This is the second part of the question. What you have to do? You have to summarize the information. It's a concise way of writing report in 150 words. By selecting what? By selecting and reporting the main features, right? There are many informations in the line graph. We have not to take a day has got 24 hours. You cannot write the development which is happening in every hour. So you will take the main features only. Then you will make comparisons. This is also one more thing which you have to take care of. Make comparisons where relevant. So comparative language and contrast language is what is expected to be written down in your report when you write down. So this is the question. First part, second part. നിങ്ങൾ എന്താ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് എന്ന് സെക്കൻഡ് പാർട്ടിൽ തന്നു. നെക്സ്റ്റ് വന്നത് തേർഡ് പാർട്ട് ഐ ലൈക്ക് ടോൾഡ് ഇസ് എ ഡയഗ്രാം ഇറ്റ് സെൽഫ്. In this case, this is the report. The diagram, the line graph. Here you can see there is an x-axis and this is the y-axis. X-axis is given you the time period. That is, it was 1992. Already തന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. From October to December 1992. These things are happening in where? UK. These are the references. Like I told, check the labels. Informations can be taken from the labels and put it down in your instruction. Pinne, your x-axis telling you the timing. It's throughout the day alle. So starting from midnight 1 o'clock to late night 11 o'clock. This is 24 hours. Time of day and night ആണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ x-axisലെ information. നിങ്ങളുടെ y-axisൽ തന്നിരിക്കുന്ന മെഷറിംഗ് യൂണിറ്റ് ആണ് പെർസെൻറ്റേജ് ആണ്. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് പെർസെൻറ്റേജ്. വാട്ട് ഈസ് ഇറ്റ്? പെർസെൻറ്റേജ് ഓഫ് UK population, right? Percentage of UK population over 4 years. This is the comparison ചെയ്തേക്കുന്ന ഈ കാണുന്ന audiences. These audiences are all above 4 years. Okay, so that is the age of that audience when they say it's above the percentage of people, like from 0% to 50% they have given. So the measuring unit is percentage of people. The proportion is percentage of people, right? ഇത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ ഗ്രാഫിൽ. This is what analyzing the graph is. Read the question one or twice and analyze the graph, right? So what we have to do is we have to write a report on this information in 4 paragraphs. That is introduction, overview, first para, second para. Okay, so I have just taken down some blanks here like a sample answer. So we'll fill in the blanks and complete this report. So first paragraph, this is your introduction paragraph. ഇതാണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ introduction. So now how the changes have been made. Okay, here now like I told, paraphrasing the question aanu. Adinte kude you have to put if any additional information you get from the graph, that also you have to put down. Here the first statement, this is your statement which itrayum ningalku paraphrase cheyanam. Itrayana paraphrase cheyendathu. It shows the graph below shows, like I told, some mandatory things introduction. First, the type of graph. Now here they show the graph, they don't specify the type, so you can add in your introduction the line graph. So which is already done here. You can see the line graph. So that is them. These are all you are making it paraphrasing. You're changing the structure of the introduction. You're not copying on the same question. Aa change ningal verthumbodaanu you are achieving that paraphrase thing. Okay. Type of graph to one is mandatory. So line graph. Next, ningalde question il kaanichekkunnathu what is it? There's a word called shows. Okay, which can be replaced. You're using synonyms. Shows can be replaced with illustrates, represents, presents, displays, depicts, right, and so on. So here we have used illustrates. So that is a change which has been done. We have again used the word illustrates, which is not in your question statement. So this much change we have done. We have write down the type of graph illustrates, and then illustrates what? Now what does this illustrate? This graph is telling you, like I told, is it giving you the percentage of people, okay, or the proportion of people. Okay, അതായത് how it is proportion, people proportion ആണ്. അതായത് ടി വി കാണുന്ന എത്ര ആൾക്കാർ, റേഡിയോ കേൾക്കുന്ന എത്ര ആൾക്കാർ, കമ്പാരിസൺ ആണ്. അപ്പോൾ പെർസെൻറ്റേജ് ഓഫ് പീപ്പിൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്രൊപ്പോർഷൻ ഓഫ് പീപ്പിൾ, എനിത്തിങ് യു ക്യാൻ റൈറ്റ് ദെയർ. സോ ദ ലൈൻ ഗ്രാഫ് ഇലസ്ട്രേറ്റ്സ് ദ proportion, you can write the proportion of people, or maybe you can write the percentage of people. People is already given, I'm just repeating it. People, because the people are given in percentage. Listening to radio, they listen to radio and watching television, watching TV, right? Something like I told, information which can be taken from the graph. Rendu karyangal, only this is happening in UK, right? So that this is not mentioned in your statement. നിങ്ങളുടെ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെൻറ്റിൽ തന്നിട്ടില്ല. ഗ്രാഫ് ബിലോ ഷോസ് റേഡിയോ ആൻഡ് ടെലിവിഷൻ ഓഡിയൻസ് ത്രൂ ഔട്ട് ദ ഡേ എന്നേ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ളൂ. ഇൻ ദ ഇയർ 9 they are not specified it is from in UK, and they are not specified the age of the audience which is given in your graph, which can be added into your introduction. So the people who are watching television and listening to audio is who were over the age of 4. This is your y-axis, which is mentioned in your y-axis. Over the age of 4, which in when was the in 24 hours time period on. Okay, this is, you can mention, it is mentioned here, time of this x-axis info, time of day or night. So okay, so it is given here in over, you can write here if you over, because it is 24 hours time period. ഇതാണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ ടൈം പീരിയഡിൽ എക്സ് ആക്സിസിൽ കൊടുത്തേക്കുന്ന ടൈം പീരിയഡ്. So you can mention that in over 24 hours time period from in the UK, which is already you can take from your graph. Idu add ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. This one also you have added. This one also you have added in the UK. Then comes when from October to December 1992. So this is the time period again mentioned. So this is how you will complete your introduction with some changes. So if you read this one paragraph, ഈ പാരഗ്രാഫും ഈ ഒറ്റ ലൈനും കൂടെ വ്യത്യാസമുണ്ട്. So that means you have achieved that condition. അതായത് നിങ്ങൾ ക്വസ്റ്റൻ അതേപോലെ കോപ്പി ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. You have made the changes. At the same time you have given a proper introduction which has got the type of chart, the information source, the time period and all the details and references which have been taken. So that will complete your introduction paragraph. Okay. Next is your overview paragraph, which is quite an important para. So generally we start, I had mentioned, we start your overview with overall. It actually distinguishes. The moderator is able to understand, okay, this is the overview. Overall, comma, and then what is the two main features which you have to take down from your graph. ഈ ഗ്രാഫ് നമ്മൾ സ്റ്റഡി ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ സംതിങ് വിച്ച് ഇസ് റിയലി significant or something which is prominent in the graph is you can see blue is television and red is radio. The people who watch television are in blue and the people who listen to radio are in red. You can see this blue graph starting from here is some fluctuations are there, and by the time it reaches here it is the highest, right? And this timing is around when? With 19 and 20, so this is somewhere around 8 pm, right? See 19 is 7, 21 is 9, ഇടയ്ക്കത്തെ ലൈനിലാണ് ഹൈ, അപ്പോൾ 8 pm. അതേപോലെ റെഡിൽ നോക്കിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ റെഡ് ഇസ് ഗോയിങ് പിക്കിംഗ് അറ്റ് ദിസ് ഹിയർ, ഇവിടെയാണ് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ആൾക്കാർ റേഡിയോ ലിസൺ ഈ സമയം വരുമ്പം. സോ വാട്ട് ഈസ് ദിസ്? ബിറ്റ്വീൻ 7 and 9 ഇത് 8 AM ആണ് മോർണിംഗ്. ഓക്കെ, ബാക്കി വന്നിട്ടുള്ള ഫ്ലക്ച്വേഷൻസ് ആണ്. ആഫ്റ്റർ 8 PM is coming down, after 8 AM it's again coming down, the morning time is very low, and so on for both TV and radio, right? ഓക്കെ, പിന്നെ ഒരു കാര്യം കൂടെ അത് മെയിൻ ഫീച്ചർ ആയിട്ടുള്ളത്, ബ്ലൂ ഗ്രാഫ് ആക്ച്വലി when you look at the number of people, okay, the people who watch television are much more than the people who listen to radio, right? Percentage കാണാം 25% അപ്പുറം പോകുന്നില്ല ആൾക്കാർ. ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ കാണുന്ന 25% ഇൻ ദ മോർണിംഗ് 8 AM ആണ്, അതിനപ്പുറം വരുന്നില്ല. പക്ഷേ ടി വി നോക്കുമ്പം 45%, ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് 45% അടുത്താണ് രാത്രി 8 മണിക്ക്. സോ ദാറ്റ് മീൻസ് മോർ പീപ്പിൾ ആർ വാച്ചിങ് ടെലിവിഷൻ ദാൻ ദേ ആർ ലിസ്ണിംഗ് ടു ഓഡിയോ. കമ്പാരിസൺ വെച്ച് നോക്കുമ്പം പീപ്പിൾ ഹു വാച്ച് ടെലിവിഷൻ ആർ മോർ ദാൻ ദ പീപ്പിൾ ഹു ലിസൺ ടു റേഡിയോ. അപ്പോൾ അതൊരു സിഗ്നിഫിക്കൻറ്റ് പോയിൻ്റാണ് വിച്ച് യു ക്യാൻ റൈറ്റ്. ആൻഡ് ദെൻ എലോങ് വിത്ത് ദ പീക്ക് ടൈമിങ്സ് ഫോർ ലിസ്ണിംഗ് ദിസ് ആൻഡ് വാച്ചിങ് ദാറ്റ്. That is something which you can add in your overview point. According to me, these are two significant points which you can add. Okay, അപ്പോൾ എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും ഓവർവ്യൂ? ഫസ്റ്റ് തിങ് ആയിരിക്കും ഓവർ ദ കോഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ഡേ ആൻഡ് നൈറ്റ് പീപ്പിൾ ഹു വാച്ച് ടെലിവിഷൻ, റൈറ്റ്, ആൻഡ് people who watch television is more as compared to the people who listen to audio. അത് ഫസ്റ്റ് നിങ്ങളുടെ ഓവർവ്യൂ പോയിന്റ് ആയിരിക്കാം. സെക്കൻഡ്ലി, when you look, significantly higher percentage of people watch television at 8 o'clock in the evening, which will not specify, but watched in the evening, while radio was listened by majority of people in the early morning, right? So that is in the morning. So that is something which you can write in your overview. These 2 points can be written in your overview points. But namukku nokkam how they have written. See, overall you can write the maybe you can write overall significantly, if the is not there, okay, overall the majority of people, you can write majority of people listen, or maybe if you remove the, you can add overall significantly higher percentage of people. Okay, ingane people already in. So either you write overall majority of people listen to the audio in the morning, while most people, you can write most. Okay, most people watch television in the evening, or you can write overall significantly higher percentage of people listen to the radio in the morning, while majority or most people watch television in the evening. That completes your first overview point, right? Comparison between the numbers, high and the low number namari, high the low, adana nammal eppum factor. Over the 24-hour period, then a second significant point in that, over the 24-hour period, there were more people watching television than there were listening to the audio, right? So first point, you have told the highest and the lowest of each categories. Second, we have made comparison between which is watched more than which. Okay, that completes your 2 overview points. So this much done. If properly, 75% of work is done. Now in your body paragraph, you have to just add the specifics. നിങ്ങൾ ഇവിടെ പറഞ്ഞ കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ടല്ലോ, ഈ പറഞ്ഞ 2 കാര്യങ്ങൾ, അതിനെ നിങ്ങൾ ഈച്ച് പാരഗ്രാഫിൽ ഇട്ടിട്ട് അതിൽ സ്പെസിഫിക്സ് ഇട്ടിട്ട് അത് സോൾവ് ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരിക്കും. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഓൾ വാട്ട് യു ഹാവ് ടു റൈറ്റ്. ഓക്കെ, സോ നൗ para 3. Okay, so now when you are writing the TV that at 1 AM there were under 10% of people, right? Now when you write that, maybe you can write the number of people, or regarding the television, you can say regarding the, or in regards to television, or regarding, maybe you can also write in regards to television hour. So regarding the television at 1 AM there were under 10% of people watching television. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഗ്രാഫ് കണ്ടാൽ കാണാം, you can see at 1 a.m. less than 10% people are blue line, you can see it is here. So less than 10% of people watched television at that point of time, right? Then after that it is telling this remained relatively. Now this 10%, okay? So maybe you can write this figure, okay, right, or this amount of individuals, okay, remained, or you can just write the figure. This figure remained relatively what? Dash until 11 a.m. When you go to 11 a.m. you can see when it comes to here, this is 11, right? Idana 11 a.m. See, you can see there blue one. So this one from starting from 10 11 വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഏകദേശം 10 തന്നെയാണ്, 10ന്റെ അടുത്ത് തന്നെ അത് കിടക്കണം കണ്ടോ. It is almost that same. See, you can see here it is same. So till 11 a.m. starting from morning, early morning 1 till 11, it is the same. So there's no change in that, right? So maybe you can write it's unchanged, okay, or maybe you can write stable or remain the same, relatively the same until 11 a.m. edu ezhudam, right? After that, so you have completed from 1 to 11. When there was, okay, until 11 a.m. After 11 a.m. the percentage is changing. You can see from here it is going up. After 11, actually the number of people who watch television from that point of time, it's going up slowly, it's gradually growing up, right? Slowly it is going, right? Slowly it's going up, and by 8 o'clock it is reaching at 45, almost 45%, less than 45%, right? So you can see there was a gradual increase. You can say either gradual or moderate, okay, or you can say steady. So gradual increase in people watching television before what? Before at particular time 45% at around 9 p.m. Now before this is at 9 p.m. what is happening? This is the highest. ഇതിനേക്കാളും കൂടുന്നില്ല. This is the highest percentage, around 8 to 9 p.m. Sorry, 8 to 9 p.m. is the highest. So here you can write the word, it's actually there was until 11 a.m. and then approximately it is before peaking, right? At approximately 45% 9 p.m. After that time there was a drop in the viewers to under 20% by midnight. So when you look at that graph, you can see adu kayinittu nere talotu variya graph. It is coming down to 15%. 8 p.m. 8 to 9 p.m. kayinittu nere thaleyana varunathu. So it is actually showing a rapid drop. So you can say there was a rapid drop, okay, in viewers to under 20%. So 45 in the 20 lekku thaale varumbothekku adu sudden drop, fast aanu, quick aanu. You can write rapid or you can write quick, right? By 20% midnight. Appo this is what your graph itrem you have to say. Starting at 1 o'clock, starting at early morning it is less than 10, which remains the same till 11 a.m. It is the same 10, under 10%. From 11 a.m. it is actually steadily growing, not rapidly, steadily growing, and by it is peaking by at 45% by 8 to 9 p.m. and then from there it is falling down in a rapid way to 20% by the 11 p.m. by 11 p.m. That will complete your first paragraph, okay. First BP, third para. പിന്നെ വന്നിട്ട് ലാസ്റ്റ് വന്നിട്ട് നമുക്ക് how we are placing the information, you are putting the people who are watching television in one para and listening to radio in the second para. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ റേഡിയോയിൽ വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് കമ്പാരിസൺ ആണല്ലോ. സെക്കൻഡ് പാർട്ട് നമ്മൾ റേഡിയോ ആണ്. നമ്മൾ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഓവർവ്യൂ പോയിന്റിൽ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു മോസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ദ പീപ്പിൾ ലിസൺ ടു റേഡിയോ അറ്റ് 11 a.m. right, 8 a.m. and the people who listen to radio are less than the people who watch television. ആ കമ്പാരിസൺ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് അപ്പോൾ സെക്കൻഡ് ഇസ് റേഡിയോ. So similarly, okay, the percentage of listeners to the radio also began at low. Similarly, because for the radio also listeners in the morning are low. You can see red one is starting less than 5%. 5% നേക്കാളും കുറവായിട്ടാണ് ഇത് കാണിക്കുന്നത്. Okay, it is less than 5%. അപ്പം the percentage of listeners to the radio also began low at under 5%. Okay, that is mentioned over here. Under 5% or less than 5% or below 5%, any way you can write. Okay, After continuing at under 5%, the figure then rose dash then rose to a dash of almost 30% about 8 am. So now at 5 under 5% ekadesham ravile pettannu it is rapidly growing. Okay, you can write rose rapidly. Now rapidly is already, you have written rapid. Okay, maybe you can write sharply also, right? So that you can bring some changes. You can write sharply also, right? When you are writing that, you are looking at this radio, this is the peak. ഇതിനപ്പുറം പോകുന്നില്ല. ആഫ്റ്റർ 8 AM വന്നിട്ട് 25% ആണ്. 25% ഓഡിയൻസ് ഏറ്റവും മാക്സിമം ആണ് റേഡിയോൻ്റെ. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അത് മേലോട്ട് പോകുന്നില്ല. സോ യു ക്യാൻ റൈറ്റ് ഹിയർ ടു എ ഹൈ ഓഫ്. You can write either high. I wrote high because peaking is already written. Maybe you can write peak of almost 30% at about 8 AM. From that point, the proportion of audience. Now writing from that point means this is the ഇവിടുന്ന്, അതായത് 8. ഈ പോയിന്റ് എന്ന് വന്നിട്ട് again it's coming down, then it's going up, then it's coming down, then it's going up, then it's like that. So it is called as fluctuation or variations, right? So either you can use the word after that proportion of audience fluctuated. You can write the word here because that is a word which can be used in line graph. In line graph this mainly happens that you have fluctuation. So fluctuated in gradual when it is going down. In the trend ആണ്, താഴോട്ട് പോവുകയാണ്, അപ്പോൾ downward trend ആണ്. So you can write here downward trend. Okay, so that is what that means. Fluctuation ഉണ്ടാവുന്നുണ്ട് after 8 AM. The graph is showing a fluctuation, then suddenly it is coming fluctuation, it is going down ആണ്, മേലോട്ട് പോകും. 25 മേളിൽ പോകുന്നില്ല, താഴോട്ട് വന്നിട്ടാണ് fluctuation ഉണ്ടാവുന്നത്. So it is downward trend to 5% at the last end of the day. 5% വന്നിട്ട് by the end of the day it is ending at 5% almost. You can see here, right? Television is ending below 15% or you can say somewhere near to 15%, under 15%, and this is under 5%, less than 5%. Okay, so that is what the information in your graph is all about, right? This is how you'll complete this report. Itre ullu. Introduction, overview, para 1, para 2. Complete your introduction and your overview in a very beautiful manner. You're completing your para is only writing down some words and figures, making comparisons. When you're telling unchanged, when you're telling stable, when you're telling the figures are high, peaking, rapid, everything is high and low and increase and decrease. That is what you have to write in your line graph. Okay, so that is it for today. This is all about line graph. We will end it here and we will meet in the next session with another kind of report, right? We have completed bar, we have completed line, so we have got various others remaining which we'll take in the next session. So please go through different types of questions on line graph, 2 line, 3 line, 4 line with different labels, okay, for different time periods, and do practice, which can give you a good manual task one. Okay, keep practicing. Have a safe day. Take care of